afternoon, guys, and firstly let me just wish everybody viewing a very happy Easter. I know it's not going to be the same for everyone this year. Most of the country is going through a pretty challenging time at the moment. In fact, most of the world is. So I'm pleased that everybody, or most people, are following the government guidance and staying at home to protect the NHS and to save lives. I've not done one of these for a while, but I wanted to give everyone a bit of an update first of all on what we have been doing. So my company, in response to COVID-19, obviously we're very strong in the Asian markets and been out in Hong Kong and China for 5 years. Very well connected with many people in Hong Kong and in the mainland, in terms of business, trade, factories, distribution, as well as local and national governments as well. So we wanted to do our bit for the world in terms of tackling the global response to COVID-19 as much as we can. So first of all, we thought things, of course, start at home. So from the UK, we've been doing a lot of work to help the Foreign Office, the Department for Health and Social Care, as well as senior ministerial colleagues at the Cabinet Office, to obtain from China and other parts of Asia the vital PPE and ventilation devices, amongst others, that we so desperately need on our front line. There's been a lot of other discoveries as well, which I'll get to in a bit. Things that have come up in China where I'm pretty shocked, actually, to be quite honest, by the way certain figures have handled the situation in China. Some of the fake news as well that's been reported in China, especially things about the current situation or ongoing issue with our Prime Minister Boris Johnson. So we'll get to that in a little while as well. But look, first of all, this disease, how did it all come about? Now, there's several theories, to be honest. There's the conspiracy theories, there's the scientific theories on the matter. But long story short, this virus was developed, or this virus was kind of let out to the wider world from the Chinese province of Wuhan. Now, that happened many months ago, and since then China has enforced a lockdown within Wuhan, but unfortunately still allowed external flights to leave the country to then scatter this virus all around the world. And now most countries have some cases of COVID-19, and unfortunately some deaths as well. Now, there could have been many reasons behind this. There's so many theories behind it as well, but actually some of the things that are going on in China in terms of the government buying up certain amounts of PPE, the fact that when they were going through all of this, the Italian government, as they thought China had a shortage and they needed help, donated PPE to China to help them, and now China is selling them back for a profit. There's a much more sinister side to things going on. So it's not only the government that are acting in this way, but it's private companies and enterprise in China as well. Companies are buying these ventilators at $35,000-40,000 US and selling them on for almost double in some cases. There's countries, many nations in the world, queuing up for products, and it's a case of selling the products to the highest bidder. Part of what we've had to do is use our influence to go in and secure governments kind of top of the line entry into factories, because otherwise there is just not a hope at all. Because when countries go in and outbid others, in China it's a money game, and at the end of the day it's profiteering from the world and profiteering from making the most out of the situation for their own gain. So we very much had to kind of go in and manage that as well. And that demand has seen prices pumped up dramatically. It's seen a number of con artists and scammers out there in China who are getting fake CE certificates, fake ISO 9001 certificates, fake FDA approvals to kind of trick the US into actually transporting it in. China on several occasions has kept kind of changing the legislation, changing the list of exports that are allowed, changing the countries or putting countries on a banned list of exports. So we have to kind of ship certain products to one country who's fronting the deal to then send it to another country. At the moment, for example, a lot of the medical gear it is banned. You can't send that to the US. There's been cases recently where ventilators were banned from being exported to the UK. So there's a lot of that, going on, and constantly, what we're finding is there's a persona in China that the foreigners, the white people within the country are to blame for this virus. So you'll see malls and restaurants and places where people normally gather in mainland China, which have signs on the door saying, sorry, no foreigners, sorry, we don't serve foreigners. You very often hear people speaking between themselves on the tube or even in the street, saying oh, there's that foreign virus. And it's a portrayal from the Chinese media that actually their problem with this virus is down to the fact that the rest of the world imported it and brought it upon their country, when in fact it was a complete opposite. So it's mad. I've seen some other people reporting on the fact, and I know this is true because friends of mine in China have told me it's happened to them, where they've gone to aeroplanes, for example. Now Wuhan's obviously been released and can go to other areas. Everyone still needs to carry around a health card that says whether or not they have the virus, they had the virus before, whether they're kind of fit and healthy to go out. So, I know people who have literally got on to aeroplanes, and people have made a complaint to the cabin crew that they're feeling uncomfortable by this foreigner, and the cabin crew has approached the Western person on the flight, asked for the health card, and gone up and down the plane and shown that with all their personal information, their address, their phone number and everything on it, shown it to every single person on the plane, so that everybody's satisfied that this person hasn't got the virus before they can set off on their way. It's, which is, you wouldn't see that anywhere in the world, would you? It's absolute madness the way they are now treating foreigners in China, and that kind of perception that has been created about foreigners in China. It's not good at all. And then we've got the fake news piece. So there's been so much going on in Chinese social media. So on Weibo, on WeChat, moments that people are posting all this kind of Chinese media posting things like Boris Johnson has died. That went around quite a lot when Boris Johnson was in hospital. There's something that came out recently saying that Boris Johnson actually made up the fact that he had COVID-19 in order to scare the public and to ensure people, are scared and are staying at home, which of course we know is a complete fantasy. That's not true at all. But the fact that Chinese are starting to kind of make up this media to portray other countries, so they're the bad guys, they're the ones that are constantly lying to their people, making things up, trying to scare people, trying to kind of give them this fantasy of the situation, when in fact it all started in their country. They should be doing a lot more to support the world, instead of completely conning the world to give them vast sums of money in order to boost their economy. And that's kind of what it's constantly doing. There's this whole medical world in Hong Kong is drastically boosting their economy. It's creating jobs, it's creating wealth now in a lot of parts of the country. So it's doing exactly what they wanted it to do in the first place. And they're using it as a bargaining power and a negotiation tool to work with or work against, should I say, most of the world, because they can have their demands. And unfortunately, most of the items we need are in these countries, we need them because people are dying. But the other struggle is as well, and I've worked with quite a few governments now around the world on different types of PPE that they need. The countries that are starting to get it through more are the countries that are, should we say, removing some of the red tape behind getting a deal signed off, getting a deal approved. Now, there have been a lot of scams, and governments have lost quite a lot of money, to date around the world, partaking in some of these scams. But if you do the right due diligence on the companies, there's certain parts of the due diligence process that just don't need to be done, and it can take time. The market moves so quickly in China at the moment, because countries are literally queuing up for these products. So if we don't remove or lax some of these regulations, other countries are going to snap it up. So when certain government ministers come out in the news and say, look, we're struggling to get PPE, people are dying, 980 deaths in 24 hours, that's only going to go up. Public transport workers such as TfL workers, bus drivers dying on the front line, not offered any PPE. Public Health in England doesn't recommend it for them, probably down to the fact that we can't even supply enough PPE at the moment on the front line within the NHS. And then now we have doctors and nurses constantly self-isolating, unfortunately, dying in so many cases as well. A lot of this can be prevented. And the excuse anymore isn't that we can't get the PPE, it's that we're not working hard enough to get the PPE. And that's something we're trying very, very hard as well, to advise government departments on what we actually need to do to secure exactly what we need, because otherwise people are going to keep dying. We need these ventilators, we need these face masks, we need these surgical gowns, and it's taking too long. Testing kits, we've had testing kits rolled out in Germany for a very long time now, a testing kit that is actually working, and it's an antibody test and it gives you a result in 10 minutes. We're still faffing around in the lab trying to kind of work out, okay, what do we need to do? Things need to move at a little bit more pace, I think, to actually kind of get the desired result. And again, that's something we're really working on to change at the moment. But yeah, I mean, look, on the whole, like I said, you know, China is a pretty mad place at the moment. You'll hear I'll do one or two other videos going forward, and I'll do an interview with my guys over in Hong Kong and China that are working on the front line of this operation to secure PPE and medical supplies for the world, and you'll get their view on things as well. You know, but right now things do need to change. You know, and I think definitely in China things need to change. In every government around the world, government policies need to change, because there should be no excuses anymore. Every day everybody's making excuses for these people dying and these deaths, the lack of testing in a lot of countries in the world. Well, it's not a case we can't get the stuff, it's not a case that we can't get the tests. We just need to pull our finger out a little bit more to make sure things do move along at pace. But look, you know, it is a sad time. It's a very worrying time for a lot of people. I wish everybody well. I hope the majority of you aren't getting symptoms, or if you are, I hope they're mild. But for now, all we can do is support everyone's efforts, support the government, support the front workers on the NHS, working in our public transport services, working in our supermarkets on the front end, you know, our delivery drivers, our food delivery drivers, our carers, and everyone on the front line. You can do your bit to help everybody by staying at home, by protecting the NHS, by practicing social distancing in every single way possible. And I'm telling you, myself and everybody else that's working in this operation day and night to flatten the curve, we thank you. And you know, together we'll fight this virus, and we'll create a better world again, and we'll move forward, and we'll make sure we come out of this even stronger and for the better. But thanks for now. You know, thanks for watching if you've made it to this point. And I'd like to know your thoughts on the situation, and thoughts on anything you've discovered, or know about what's going on in China or the world, or anything really that you want to know, or want to know from me, or have any questions. Put your comments in the description, in the comment section below, and I'd appreciate it, of course, if you share the video, if you subscribe to my channel, turn on bell notifications, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon. Thank you.